Captain Cole, and I'm joined by my co-host Trip, better known as Crypto ISO on Crypto Twitter. We got an awesome episode for you guys today, but lots to talk about, lots to get into. But before I get started, would you please do me a favor, smash that like button, make us look good for the YouTube algo. Also want to take a quick second to thank our sponsor Phemex, one of the only non-KYC derivatives exchanges left in crypto. Click the link in the description below to get up to $6,000 in sign-up bonus. Now, the last thing I'll say before we get started here on Tools of the Trade, we are not financial advisors, and this information is for educational purposes only. Welcome, everyone, for another episode of Tools of the Trade. Trip, how's it going, my man?
It's good. Got a little end of the day carnage across the board.
Yeah, it's nice to see some equity nuke, or at least some volatility in the market, right? It's translating to crypto, seeing some nice dips to be talked about. Not much really talk about macro-wise, right, Trip? I don't think there's anything to add compared to last week. Everything has kind of been steady keel.
Yeah, there were some fears in the market today. There was like a really strong retail sales number, and then Fitch was talking about downgrading banks, and so the whole idea of higher for longer, I think when people were anticipating maybe quicker rate cuts by the Fed, has like put a little bit of fear into the markets. I mean, the NASDAQ and S&P are respectively below the 50-day moving averages, which are, we've seen like fake outs in that regard before. But people get scared. So we'll see how sustainable this stuff is. But like, it was interesting because you had 2 9 prints on both of them yesterday. So just if you're a TD trader and you're looking at the Stoke down here, it looked like it was going to rebound, but we're dealing with a very volatile, kind of walking on eggshells type market right now, I feel like. So we'll see how this actually kind of translates into like how far it can go down. I mean, I think the last time we spoke, we were looking at the cloud and we were looking at the Kijun, and like your Kijun is here 14.8. Yep. So that's for those who don't know, Zorn's kind of bread and butter is like, this is your trending indicator, right? So we've been above it since 11.8 on the NASDAQ, right? We've also been above the 50-day moving average. Can you come down, tap, retest up here? And then, I think you need to reclaim this. Yep. But this looks like it could come down to that 14.8 level. And I think we talked about like, what would that be from a percentage decline off the top in terms of just like overall correction on the indices? I guess if you came down, it's like 8%, right? So if we do it on the S&P, we can look at it there too. Yeah, so
43.80.
Yeah, 43.80, and then that decline translates into what exactly? Yeah, so that's actually surprisingly less on the S&P. So yeah, I mean, it's something to monitor. I mean, what happened in crypto today was kind of like within the ecosystem itself, right? I mean, I think you saw like some news about GSR. There was some stuff on Binance. So you had the perfect storm of like risk.
I had the catalyst for risk going off, right? It's like, show me the chart, I'll tell you the news. Chart was looking heavy. There was some long liquidations that got ran earlier this morning. I think that's just what we're seeing basically.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at Bitcoin versus ES here, there's actually not like too much of, it's actually still slightly up, 33 basis points. But yeah, I don't know, knee-jerk reaction to some stuff. I don't like to make any decisions or conclusions right away. I mean, I'm sure the bears are cheering, being like, I told you so, and like the equity markets, and then tomorrow it gets bought up or something. So it's noise for now, but something to pay attention to. I think the 50-day moving average is one thing, and I would watch these Kijun levels if you have continued sell-off. If we can look at our favorite dollar chart, because everyone likes to look at this one. Can you guys see this?
Yeah, I just want to zoom in on just that versus.
Yeah, hold on here. Let me. This works. Yeah. All right. So you are kind of coming into, even though I don't really pay attention to this that much, you're kind of coming into this like upper trend line resistance. Let's call it that, like this high, right? So I guess if you start breaking out, then it probably would cause a deeper sell off. But I don't know. Your stoke could be turning over here on the daily, like we're coming into resistance. Um, I think like obviously people are going to be looking closely at the Jackson Hole um, speech from Jerome, which I I think it's August 25th. I have to check though. So yeah, some things to just be cognizant of on that front. But I think everyone's here pretty much for crypto mainly. So we can dive into that. But that's the quick and dirty on the indices and the dollar. And so um, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. You've been a bit more active in Telegram. I've been trying my luck on chain. Really,
Yeah, on chain seems to have been where the liquidity has gone, right? It's got some good
yeah. I
afternoon
mean,
trends.
I don't know. I wouldn't say there's a lot of liquidity. That's
It's definitely still
where people are
PvP. And you
PvP players.
made a good point, right? GSR, for those who don't know, is one of the bigger market makers in the space. They've been around since a very long time, at least since I've been in the space. But point being, they have started canceling operations, and whenever you hear that a market maker who's been supporting prices up and down for the past several years to decide to leave the space, it goes with a heavy heart. But that just goes to show you just how PvP the market still is, how little liquidity is left in the system, and how it really is. Since Trip is on chain, it's really just me versus you guys taking everyone's money left and right. But neither here nor there. Let's talk about Bitcoin in the short term. Long term, just to zoom out real quick, it's been in this giant range. We broke down from the range last month to this new range, where it seems like we're breaking down as well. We just swept the Monday low a couple hours ago. So I'd like to have this bullish bias as long as we kind of hold above this one day low. As long as we're above 29K, I'd like to see alts have some sort of relief going into the rest of the week. Now, how much relief, I can't say. I'd really like to see Monday low to Monday high, a full range sweep, where you essentially, you swept the Monday high here already. So maybe you come up and you sweep this high here, take some liquidity from up here, 29.7, 29.8. But then you're again going back to that 30K level. And that for me is the pivotal level that needs to be reclaimed. So until we're above 30K, I'm still high time frame bearish. But I do think the fact that we swept the Monday low, we're still holding above it. We'll probably chop around here, I'm going to assume, for a larger part of the day. And then maybe during Asia or London, attempt the weekly open. If I wasn't long, I'd be looking for something like a sweep of the weekly open to get long. But again, guys, Bitcoin is not the most interesting beast here, but we'll get into alts in just a second. But just to get a kind of a take, right? So you had this huge range. This, to me, this candle that we kind of broke market structure and then we just kind of drifted off, this should have been a bullish reaction within the first 2 days, in my opinion. So the fact that we still have been kind of consolidating back in this range tells me that these lows at 28.5, 28 are likely going to be swept. Until that happens, though, I think we're going to play the range until it breaks. We got the Monday low sweep. I'm long on a couple of alts, namely, what am I long? OP, Rune, Pepe. We can look at those in just a sec. ETH, very similarly as well. ETH BTC has not been playing ball lately. We broke down out of that range we have, where we tested the lower end of the range. We think we bottomed to 18.11, 18.12, call it. Still below the Monday low. I don't like ETH for longs just yet, and we'll look at ETH BTC. This has still been just in that 3-day demand zone, but again, ETH BTC on the daily is still kind of just turning around. I don't see any reason to be bullish for ETH longs just yet. It'll be interesting to see the remainder of the week if we're able to reclaim some key levels on ETH BTC, mainly being 6.287, basically. If we get above there, I think we're going to see a move higher on ETH. But yeah, that's kind of my ETH, BTC, ETH, and then BTC takes as well. Are we looking at any alt strips? I know you're playing on train a little bit.
I don't even know if I should mention on chain stuff on a stream.
That's fair.
But yeah, I don't know. There's some on my Twitter. I've obviously been playing some of the Telegram bot moves from a market cap standpoint on catch up plays to Unibot, and then there's a lot of other interesting narratives happening under the surface, almost in the, I guess you could call it GameFi, almost like a new gaming narrative.
I
But
like that idea.
I would say that after just looking at your BTC, ETH, and ETH BTC stuff, it would be good to go look at liquidity, because I took one trade on Bitcoin 29.4 basically, and I was like, cool. It went up 29.6, come back from the gym, and it's like, boom, done. So
Yep.
that right there was the biggest indication of Like there's zero buyer momentum in this market. Price, in my opinion, like on the majors is just not interesting because there's not that many people left in crypto right now. They're all on chain, I feel like, or they're looking at like lottery tickets where the volatility in Bitcoin and Ethereum is like nothing, and it is nothing
Yep.
until it isn't, right? But guessing that and getting chopped up on like $200-300 moves trying to play leverage positions is just not something that I really care to do. And I've said it a couple times now. Like there's literally liquidity at 1910 on ETH and 1770, like 1780 on ETH, right? So until those areas where price can go into those areas, like I just have to stay disciplined and true to myself, just because like I know how this goes. So I haven't really been doing too much on that front. I mean, BTC was showing strength versus ETH that day. It popped and then it immediately rejected, right? So we're still in this like phase of the market's just waiting for something. I don't know what the catalyst is going to be. Maybe it starts when we get into the ETF season where the deadlines come into play. BlackRock being the first one. What is that? September 1st?
September 2nd. Yep.
September 2nd, right? So until then, you could just see interest elsewhere in on-chain stuff versus trying to trade even some of these altcoins. Like, yes, some of them pop off. Pepe like went up over the weekend, but it's very much liquidity-driven game still. You got to be really on top of it. So kudos to those that can play it. But let's just take a look at the actual liquidity pockets on BTC and ETH, because like the price hasn't really done that much. That's the thing. Like, except today we saw it hit some. But so I guess we'll just start on the 12-day because we can get a better sense of short time frame. What?
Yeah, I was saying granularity.
Yeah, and just looking at like where price is sitting and what it's done. Okay, so this is a 12-hour look back period on BTC. Like, look at the purple zone it's in here, right? So you're smack between this zone, 28.8, basically, or you call it like 28.9, or you can start to go up into 29.3. If you hit through this gap, then this is your 29.6, which price?
I like 29.6 the most from just because we swept that Monday low. To kind of drift back up there would not surprise me if we're just going to be in a range this week.
Yeah. And so longing like 29, like longing here right now, I guess you would put your stop below this, but then you're running the risk of like this getting taken out, which is, where's your Monday low exactly?
29.80, I think it was. We just swept it.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know. I don't have an edge in this if I'm not long from like here, basically. We can look at the 7-day, which is maybe going to give us a better indication of like the larger liquidity pockets. And we'll zoom in for you guys here. Like still there's like a nice one right below, closer to price for me. Right here.
Yeah, that's fair. 28.950.
28.950. This gives you 28.8, and this is the mommy daddy button right here, 28.3. Right? So like there's not much to squeeze on a 7-day going up, but here is your 29.6. And that's going to get you your 30K. And this is what, 30.5 that like we've all been looking for a week now, or maybe longer. So like this, these are the magnets where price is eventually going to go. I have no idea how long it's going to take, but that's kind of been the case. And so it's testing your patience. And then we can look at the 1 month and see, like, I guess you're somewhat closer to this 28, 28.4 to 28.1. Like that's, I don't know where the Kijun is on Bitcoin right now. I know it moved up, which was why
it moved up to today's current price. That's why I'm kind of down for this.
Right. So then
Kijun is right now where the today's low is 29.50.
Right. So you get up here. This would take out, I guess, go through the weekly open, Monday's high. I don't know if it put, this is your, again, these are the liquidity pockets on BTC that we've been watching forever. So, yeah, I mean, I understand the Monday low run and reclaim for a long. Like that makes sense to me. Now we can look at ETH on the 12-hour and see where the liquidity stacks up for this, because this one's been a pain as well. But like here's your big like zone up here near term, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, like 18 doesn't. You basically just took this right here. This was a pocket. Price is here. It's got a lot. Needs to squeeze into like 1840 to really kind of push into this zone, and then you start hitting a gap after 1860 up to here. The 7-day is a much better like view for me in terms of magnets for price. So this is why I've kind of always liked the 1770 to 1780. You tap this down here. It's a bit further away now. So here's your 1850, but this gets you that 1880, which I think was like previous week high as well.
1890, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was actually looking for that potentially, and then there's just like no ability to push price up or any momentum. So I would be watching this zone 1880, and can it push into that kind of like that this is where you really get exhausted. Like this is why this is a short and this is a buy, right? Like these are high probability. What?
Yeah, I was saying that's simple. Just buy the low, sell the high, and just be patient.
Yeah,
because in the middle.
You run the liquidity here, the gap. I mean, I think you can watch this, because if you trade 1885 and it starts to reject, and you've taken this and you're not really getting this gap up, then maybe you enter here, because that would be running the previous week high. So, and we can look at the monthly, and look at ETH on a chart too, also. And then this lines up with exactly like your sweet spot, and then you have some down here too before you hit a gap after 1770. So I'm playing lottery tickets on chain, trying to have fun over there. But we can look at ETH just like structurally. I mean, really not much has happened, right? I mean, your 200-day moving average is now 1790. You're still in this megaphone structure, if you want to call it that, and a bottom channel tap here, or just like through it slightly, is about 1780. And that's like an extremely important area, because I think if you start losing this uptrend, then it's just not looking good. And that's about the same for BTC, and bottom channel touch right here, 27.9, and that is running that liquidity pocket at basically 28.1. Like,
yep.
And if I don't know if you get a tap of 27.3, the 200-day, maybe that's going to move up more, and you sidestep into this channel. Like, this can persist a lot longer than people expect, and it has. Like, this is painful. This is a daily chart. This is not an hourly. So yeah, I will be looking to buy this zone or sell this zone. And the 50-day moving average is about that 1880, right? I think if you start reclaiming that and you're holding above it, which I thought was possible, then it's starting to look better, right? And your 50-day on BTC is 29,908, so close to that 30K. So yeah, I mean, we can look at just, you kind of did the ETH BTC analysis, but this has just been like in a large like downtrend wedge for a long time now, trying to get some momentum. But here we are sitting on like, I guess, this mini uptrend line, right? If this breaks, it's probably going to go down to here, 0.059. If it doesn't, we're getting close to decision time though, on a lot of stuff. And it's been said a lot with Bitcoin and ETH volatility. It's never been this low, but I don't know how long.
Everyone's waiting for something to happen. It's just like place your bets and kind of just wait to see what happens for the most part.
Yeah. I just know that those liquidity pockets, it's price seeks liquidity. It's only, it could take a long time, but just mark the levels that you want to buy or sell, and when price gets there, watch it low time frame and decide how you're going to get in. That's literally like the most simple way to do it, in my opinion.
I like that. That makes sense. I'm going to pivot over real quick, talk about Rune. This is one I've been in since actually last night I shorted it. Was able to get out. Got early on the short, actually. Started shorting 153 right around here and then added. And then was able to close right before the squeeze. But point being is, structurally, this is a really super interesting alt. It's been up only for the past week, 2 weeks, week and a half. These are the kind of spots I like to actually observe price because it's getting close to an exhaustion point. Now, the interesting thing, structurally looks good. It just came off a nice, almost like a short squeeze, had a clean SR flip. And now the interesting thing is when we look at, funding on this thing is extremely negative right now across the board on every exchange. So that to me is telling me that from the chart perspective, this likely still has one more squeeze higher. How high, I don't know, but I do assume somewhere after the daily closes, we're going to run that high at 626. Also, like it's actually 4 cents below on Phemex, ironically. It's almost like free money, assuming this is going to catch up to the perk price. That perp is going to catch up to mark price. So this is, in my opinion, going to get another squeeze. If we look at the liquidity levels now, interestingly enough, this is just it's crazy, but it's one of those where I've seen it before. Everyone just very horny to short this. And this ends up doing like a full topside lick run before anything actually ends up happening. So if I run this, I think there's like 100 or something shorts left to like 1,200 longs. But basically what I'm looking at, where are the top liquidations on this coin? Because that's likely what's going to happen before it ends up reversing. So I see here, I'll zoom in here real quick. It's going to be around 1.6 something. So if we get a push up on the daily above 1.6, probably up to these highs, 158, 160, 161, somewhere around there. That's where I'd be looking to close and maybe look to short. Let's see what else we got going on the long side.
I mean, you can look at CoinGlass and just scan these funding rates, and there's a lot of negative ones. Like BNB's negative 0.05, BCH dot, like, I don't know if you see my screen.
Yeah.
Rune. I mean, it's like,
that's the thing. That's something that's like super shorted and is in super strong this way up, right? It's like they need to unwind somehow.
SHIB. BLZ, don't know what the heck that is. It's funny because INJ, that one always actually can squeeze pretty hard. Look at this. I mean, I actually haven't seen negative funding rates like this in a bit now. But someone had tweeted this. I forget who it was, and they were like, "Can't wait for shorts to get absolutely torched this weekend." And I was like, maybe I should buy some Rune. Should have bought it. But it's like timing these reversals on the funding rates. But
yeah, the point is, it's not even about timing the reversal in this case. Like I didn't, funding just started getting negative after this last dip. And the fact that it's not max negative as we're pushing at new highs tells me that this is still likely to squeeze. So it's not even about how far it has to squeeze, just that it's likely going to squeeze out of all these assets.
Yeah, LPT was another one that actually went up this, and you can build strategies just off looking at negative funding rates, but you also have to look at some of the other components involved. The histograms, which Amoeba is usually pretty good at, just in terms of like the spot activity going on versus perps.
LPT is not that bad of a coin.
I don't think they have liquidity for LPT on Hyblock.
LPT.
Do they have BLZ? Yeah, they do. That one was. Let's see this one.
We pull up BLZ. I'll pull up a chart. See if we find anything interesting, friends.
It's loading.
Pull up the chart.
All right. So this is BLZ. Whoa. This is a weird.
Super weird, actually.
This is
how long it is.
This is strange. I don't know if I would touch this thing.
Yeah, I don't know that I would touch it either on the chart wise. That looks weird.
I don't even know what it does. I'm gonna go on.
So on the daily, it looks like this. So just when I look at a daily chart, if I'm not here and I'm not down here, I don't really have any business doing anything here, regardless of how many licks, because this could just go back to the point of origin. So I don't know that there's a good setup on BLZ, but someone said check the Solana licks. What's Solana look like, Trip?
Let me pull up good old Sol.
Swept all these lows.
Sol, man. Panda's launched on Panda's minting on Sol today. Sol's got a lot of good stuff in the like NFT
In the pipeline
going on. Well, I mean, the whole like Tensor project is really impressive. How they've taken share so quickly on little funding, and the interface is like legit. And there's some interesting analysis you can do with the tools they have. But yeah, so Sol, 370 million.
it's still positive funding, but it swept the lows there. So I see the bull case.
Sol's interesting because it's this chart we can look at. It's sitting on this trend line, trying to get some momentum off of it, I guess. Call it that. And I think the Kijun is it's sitting on it still. Basically.
It's sitting on it now, right? I think it just went into it.
So what is it telling us, like when the Tenkin, when these cross?
So when they get close together, showing parity, right? So they're basically MAs. So if you're above both MAs, you're bullish. If you're below MAs, you're bearish. Them coming close to price, like how they are right now, Tenkin and Kijun kind of touching each other, and then price just above tells me that price has found mean reversion from whatever move it had from what was it, 13 to $30.
Okay, got it. Because like when things are strong and they're trending, you want the Tenkin like below price, and then the Kijun below Tenkin.
Yeah. On the daily, the Tenkin can be above price, but that's really just showing a period of consolidation, like how you see it was in between the blue and the yellow, chop solidating. Now it's kind of looking like it's trying to break out since the blue is back below it. That just shows that it digested the mean reversion. It's holding that 2250, 26 level. 2260 level nicely. It's probably good enough. It's actually not a bad idea to long after it swept those lows.
I'm trying to see like a 3-day chart. Yeah, so it's sitting on the 3-day Tenkin.
Yep. Which is probably as good of an entry you're going to get, assuming this is going to continue going up.
To 28 would be like this mini edge to edge, I guess.
Yes.
All right. I haven't looked at like a weekly chart on these.
Weekly, it's still sandwiched between the Tenkin and the Kijun. So again, that's like if I see how it touched the yellow line, mean reversion, cool. And now it's sitting above the blue line, so it's kind of just consolidating between 28 and 22, call it, until it makes a move.
Got it. So this could be the range for
a couple of months until it breaks up or down.
Okay.
That's why everything going towards like end of the year, November, going towards those $46 edge cloud makes a lot of sense. But for now, I don't expect much off the rip. But Sol for a scalp play, sure, I like it. Let's take a look here.
Yeah, the liquidity is definitely saying that it could squeeze.
You swept all these lows, cool. Assuming that was a lick run. Playing back up to point of breakdown. What are the licks go?
On this one?
I do. I should.
MKR mask. I'll look at these. We can use this stream much more as like a Q&A.
In the chat. Yeah.
We'll tag team liquidity and charts. I'll run the liquidity. Zorn can look at the charts and some spaceman levels for shorter term trades.
Yeah, I wonder what the liquidity likes on Sol for 25, because I can see a range play, basically range to range, range low to range high.
To 25.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look here's one way to just look at it to see the squeeze potential. Off of 97 million in shorts,
Here,
price.
show the Hyblock page.
Oh yeah, sorry. Price went from 24 to 25.2. Right
Okay.
now
Yeah.
there's 370 million in shorts, with a pretty favorable ratio to squeeze, right? Versus like at 313 to 59. I mean, can you come down here to 23.76? Yes. But like if you're in the camp that you think Bitcoin did the Monday low sweep, it's going to go up to 29.6 or even 29.5, then I would suspect that you're going to get bait on Sol, just because like this will take it. It'll start to just rip through like,
All
yes.
those looks, yeah.
Yeah, you get like this one up here. Maybe
Yeah.
we drop the granularity to see like where the big liquidity pockets are. Yeah, so that you get 24/7.
24/7. Yeah.
You're definitely getting like these two. Can it squeeze up there is the question. But yeah, so I would favor Sol on the bullish side just based on liquidity and the chart. But you also have to take a view on what you think Bitcoin and ETH are going to do near term.
Yeah.
I don't think it has the ability to.
For that, I think you can just trade the range, right? You're not looking for anything fancy. You're playing the range low back to the range high, essentially. You sweep the lows of the range, probably sweep the high, or go for the range high retest.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to look at MKR. Let me check out MKR.
Maker. Ooh, I had some fun playing with this coin. Where's Maker?
Actually, before we do that, we'll do FXS just because it's someone asked about it. It's alphabetical. It's easier. Let's take a look at this. The old liquid staking derivative play. All right. So I guess I don't have a chart in front of me, but like this looks like it is favoring a squeeze because it's got to like the next bit of liquidity is 639. I mean, I imagine that the 647 drop here. I haven't looked like a spaceman, but maybe is that like a
So
take out these levels?
from the chart perspective, I agree. High time frame, it's an edge to edge all the way to 7.7. I agree that if you go lower, you're going much lower. Just because that swept the lows, it kind of hit the Tenkin. I mean, the Kijun on the 4 hour. It's actually not a bad for a reversion play. This
You
looks
could
like
enter here with
bottom.
your stop. What 647?
Yeah, basically below the low. You're playing this low.
Yeah. Hold on, let me see what you're looking at. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it is
It's in an edge to edge. I just don't know that it has
the juice.
all the juice for it. It could though. Yeah, I don't hate this. Yeah. I don't hate that. What did the licks look like? Sorry.
I mean, there's shorts, but like it just ran a bunch of longs down. There's a fair amount of green circles in here, though.
Yeah, I don't know that's necessarily the best beta play, but again, everything did nuke, so I'm not surprised if things aren't just bouncing. That's one thing to keep in mind.
I guess how is it bounce relative to the market? He said FXS stupid strong. Let me see if I have it in my watch.
You see.
What's stupid strong? Like I don't know if I have it. Do I?
I don't think. Here I have the BTC pair.
It's down 235 basis points. 660.
It's down 2% of the day almost. But it is trending higher from a market structure perspective. I do see the edge to edge on both Bitcoin and the USD pair. So I do get the point. They look very similar.
Okay, let me take a look at Maker.
Pull up the chart on that.
Actually, no, we'll do Lido first because they're both that game.
So this to me is just like what I'd want to see on a bottoming candle on the daily. Kind of like an up thrust down. So I'd like to see this low hold 165. I think I should go back to the 180s is what I was looking for.
Yeah, that would be the bottom of like these lows, and this would squeeze a bunch of liquidity. I mean, there's like 50 million in shorts on this.
Okay.
Like if BTC and ETH are going up from here, it's not touching this liquidity. That like it'll do this. It'll do like a fill all this like inefficiency in type move.
Yep,
probably.
Yep. I think that's the thing to keep in mind too, is like playing this for, are you swinging these trades or are you playing the scalp back to like the previous breakdown range?
Where's my Lido chart? I mean, we're getting close to the bottom channel here, where like this 156 of this. Let me put this larger of like the whole structure, right? So, did it take this low out? No.
No, it did not take that low out.
Okay, I would if I'm not in Lido, it can squeeze for sure. But I guess I would feel like better with this zone because you'd take out these lows, and you'd run liquidity even further down, and your delta would increase even more. But like right now, I guess I can see the squeeze back up to like these lows, essentially 178, maybe it goes to 179. But like you broke down pretty badly from this like consolidation zone here.
Yep.
You know, like you took out this and you tried to reclaim it, failed, and just boom down. So something to keep in mind. I guess it's on a 4. All right, yeah. What was the next one? Maker.
Yeah.
All right, let me pull it up.
So Maker's interesting. It didn't have its like blow off top on this 1269, but it's been in this consolidation range from a 382 for the past few days, right? So you had the breakdown, and it's just been kind of consolidating. Here's this reaccumulation, redistribution, whatever. I was in the case that this was redistribution from this high. Now that we've kind of been in here long enough, we had that sweep down, the fact that we're holding. I think we're going higher. I don't know how much higher, but I think this has actually been a very good coin to just trade within the range. Buying near 1200, selling near 1270s. Obviously easier said than done, but point being is this doesn't tell me an edge one way or another. You had this move down, the swept liquidity down here, got bought up and closed above. I don't know that. I think upside's the thing to be expected. Expecting downside from here this soon is probably poorly thought. What's Maker liquidity?
I mean, you have the shorts, but you're also like in the middle of this.
Yeah. You can probably go up to sweep some short liquidity, but it's not as telling one way or another.
Like price is closer to these than it is really up to here, but I mean, look what it did off of 37 million in shorts. Are these like weekend plays though?
Yeah, I think that was a weekend. Yeah.
Right. So, wow, look at that way, 1,200. That's interesting. All right. So, yeah, 48 million in shorts. I just don't love when things are smack in the middle of something and there's no like real.
Yeah, if there's no edge, you sit out. It's that simple.
Someone's off sides versus the other, so it's always a funny one. All right, so industry gives you this access. Thanks. MK Ultra. I feel like you've been a listener for a while. Okay, so Lido STMX, that doesn't have liquidity. I don't even know the coin. Maybe Zoran can pull it up on a chart.
STMX.
I'll look at Joe is a weird one. Sushi, I don't know.
So STMX for the Binance cartels. This just looks like it's consolidating. I have no view one way or another.
Oh my god, what is this thing?
I've seen.
I mean, it's
like
pretty interesting because like this is like a giant compression.
See, that's the thing. Like it can look like okay, it's breaking down, and then does like one of these, and then a fuck you. I don't necessarily feel like I have an edge playing these meme coins. This probably had some sort of negative funding narrative behind it. I don't necessarily think I have an edge, so I stick out of here.
Do you have a volume profile on it? Because it's like it spikes, sells off, spikes, sells off. But is someone actually buying these? Is there like, well,
I'm assuming they're just squeezes, really. I don't think it's actual buying because even the sell off's not really actually selling.
But the volume itself is tailing off to where you'll probably you'll probably get some sort of
Yeah, but like even this dip down like had no resistance. Like it just went straight down.
yeah.
I don't know.
That's weird.
Trade this
I'm not touching that. Okay, BCH. Yeah, that had negative funding too. So let's look at that one. And that one was one that ripped. Be curious to see if like has that come back down so much to earth that it's hit like a.
No, it has not come back down to it. It's bled down, but it has not come back. It's really just mean reverted. So liquidity look like on this bad boy?
109 million and then 42 million in shorts. I mean, again, like, look, price is back where it was on August 11th, right? A lot of this stuff has done this. This is what it does, and then it goes like this, and then it goes down, and it's the same price. This is like been the whole market. So unless you're shorting these spikes or somehow catching these, which I'm not really good enough nor I care to try to do, like price hasn't done anything because it's the same amount it was August 10th, basically. So I don't know. These things like don't interest me. I haven't looked at a chart of this. Do you have one up?
Yep. Let's see. BCH.
Yeah, I don't know. The Kijun is like, where's that?
217. This is really just consolidating. Can this squeeze up with everything else? If everything is going to squeeze up, yes. It's really just, are you in that camp? But just generally speaking, when I see candles like this with long lower wicks, those tend to be bottoming candles just because liquidity gets flushed, all these stops get ran. The person who had their orders below all these gets filled, and then they're sitting happily above water before the actual move happens. So across the board, I think prices bottomed locally for the day, and it's just about how much juice are we going to get out of the fictitious lemon squeeze to the upside. Someone said a mask took all the lows. What are the looks of in a mask?
Dude, this coin is whack to trade, but we'll look at it. Also, Ape. Yeah, we can look at that. I saw that.
Actually, it's kind of interesting that swept all those lows.
Mask did?
Yeah.
Usually gets. Oh, wow.
It has upside, hopefully, but look. See, that's a lot of longs.
Jesus, look at all this. See, this is the thing with Mask. Everyone wants to buy these red deltas, and it just punishes people. I would literally probably like.
You'd wait till it dips down back to 3-1, yeah.
Put a bid here. Let every single one of these guys get taken out. I mean, look, it can squeeze. It would probably go to here. Because you do have 59 million in shorts. I don't know what the funding is on it, but like I just don't want to be one of these guys personally. Because like
I also don't want to sit in that while it just does nothing, goes sideways for 2 days before it decides to actually move.
Yeah. Um, but I'm sure, like, what is Mask trading at right now?
320,
No, relative. Like, what is it down on the day? It's Jesus
8%.
down 8%.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, look, if you think Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to squeeze, this will probably take out some shorts. I just don't. Uh, it's you take a view on the market basically with that one, but I've also seen it not squeeze plenty of times.
And just ignore all market momentum to whichever direction it's in.
Yeah, like I don't know if there's funding data on that one. Um, on I'm trying to look here. No, it's not like negative or anything crazy. Someone said look at Ape. Yeah, we can look at Ape. I haven't looked at
Pull up a
the.
chart.
I saw Kang tweeting about like fundamental analysis on this, like a lot of things
On
coming,
Ape.
catalysts coming. I
I mean,
haven't.
this. Look at this chart. This is just a down only chart. Is it putting in a potential higher low from these lows?
Whoa,
And
185 shorts to 12 longs. Maybe this is an interesting one.
this actually could be chart wise. I can see this being a higher low. I just
157 million in shorts.
I just don't like it that much from down 10% of the day. Yeah, maybe. Okay. What do licks look like?
Plentiful.
Ooh, that is kind of plentiful. And there are red dots at the lows.
So these people were shorting for those when we talk about green dots and red dots. Red it says shorts. So you can look at the size and the entry. Tells you 0.55 million, right? So then you can see that people are shorting the lows, and then you would look and say, all right, well, there's 12 longs to 185 shorts. So is it a higher probability that you take out these 12 or maybe some of these longs, or are you going to start squeezing based on the delta of 157 million in shorts? And at the peak up here, there was 256 million in longs. So you just removed a lot of market participants, like in this move, right? So did it sweep this low? No, but I mean, this is like support, right? Where's the origin of the move? It's right here. So price is at a very interesting level. I haven't looked at a chart on this. I would say that this is a prime candidate for probably squeezing. If the funding rate was negative on this, I would say that like this is a no-brainer long. But it's neutral right now. But again, if you think BTC and Ether are going up, then this is probably at least going to $1, like up here in my.
Yeah, I kind of have that same setup. I don't hate this setup at all, actually.
What are you looking at? Yeah.
Stop below that low, and you're targeting back. I'm assuming the 195 was a lick.
Yeah, 197.
Yeah.
I would even tighten. I would even just try to play like a tighter stop on this one, just because there's 12 longs. Like that's to 185 shorts. I mean,
It's not bad, actually.
you're tight. It's tight trade, tight risk. But what's the RR on that now? Like
5.1,
Yeah,
5.4.
5.4.
Yeah, I like that.
Have you looked at the spaceman levels on this to see like what?
See, I'm just gonna assume everything broke. I only have the Monday high open and the weekly at Monday low on mine, but I'm assuming everything basically swept the Monday low. I don't know
Let
that
me
there.
take a look at the. Um, I think this one has it. The CR. Yeah, hold on. Let me just.
I do like that ape trade though.
All right. So Ape USDT. You guys see this? Here are the spaceman levels. All right. Previous month low swept. That's a pretty big one for me. Anytime you take out monthly levels. Hold on, let me change the colors on this one because I don't know why is that yellow. Hold on 1 second. That might be yeah. So I guess it would start trading back above the monthly open. All right.
I started filling some.
This is this is pretty interesting. Your 4-hour Stokes pretty low. Is there a pivot that it trades back up into? Broke through this one pretty aggressively. Curious to see if the hourly is a TD9. If there's any sort of like short-term buy signals. Let's see.
I mean, that looks as bottomed as I'd like to see it.
Yeah, this is a pretty decent trade. You're playing back to here basically the breakdown.
Yeah, I think you get because it's the underside retest of where that support that broke anyway.
Yeah, which is the licks. So, be interesting to see if this in the next 2 hours. There's this. Well,
TD9.
Yeah, just it would. Maybe that would be. Maybe it could sit down here for a little bit, right? It's not going to like rocket. That's the thing. This doesn't look too bad.
It looks really nice, actually. This is one of the few things I've seen on stream that I just had to ape. Had to ape the ape. Daily on ape looks really bad. That's okay, Greg. We're not playing for new highs. We're playing for scalp longs.
Yeah, I mean, sure, everything looks bad right now, but sometimes you want to buy stuff when it looks bad, not when it's going up. But
see, that's the thing, right? It's like buy when it's red. Don't insist on buying when it's green. That's something that a lot of newer traders always struggle with. It's like it's very tough emotionally if you don't have a plan in place. When you see prices go down or up, you get euphoric or pessimistic, depending on where the price is. And if you don't have a plan in place, you're just like reacting to your emotions. But when you have a plan in place and you see, okay, the market's down, I usually want to buy when it's down so I can sell when it's up. The thesis becomes very simple: buy red, sell green. So it's red right now, so we buy now and we sell later when it's green, hopefully. Thank you for coming to my Trader's TED Talk.
all right.
If only it were so simple. But yeah, I do like ape. I think that's probably the best setup we've seen thus far.
Yeah. Whoever mentioned it, you get a gold star.
Yeah, seriously.
What do you say, man? That 3-day bullish div for ape just got swiped violently. Greg. Yeah. Well, ape daily on ape looks really bad though so far. I agree. We're not saying that ape's the future. We're literally just trying to scalp liquidity.
Trade liquidity.
Who is off sides right now? Mostly shorts. So yeah, you took out 250 million in longs, and now there's 150 million in shorts, and there's 12 longs. So I would play the odds on that one happily.
I like that.
Dante said something similar.
Yeah, that's modeled after him. So I'm misquoting it, but that is what he said.
On what?
Why do you insist on fucking selling when the market is red? You buy on red, you sell on green. It's a prop shop quote that has always stuck with me.
There's a large element of truth to it.
Yeah. I think a lot of traders forget that, right? It's like trying to separate emotion from trading. When you don't have a plan, it's usually difficult.
Okay, Sui, we can look at that one. That one got literally torched,
destroyed
yesterday, I think. And I think some of that was because of like SEI or the coin coming out, just attractive versus Aptos.
Oh yeah, so it front ran all time low. Someone said I see that.
There's a lot of shorts in this. Well, relatively speaking, 65 million. Wait, did this go to 52? Like where did this go down to?
0.5229.
Wow. I don't know. I don't really know what to do with this. Maybe it squeezes to 57. It's not really something I really would try to
See, my issue is that everything's going to squeeze. It's just how high, and you have to wait for BTC to kind of do some sort of reclaim on like 29,350, call it.
Yeah. Agreed. Are there any other? Oh God, what is this? The liquidity.
Gala and
Gala.
ARB. Gala and ARB.
I'll look at ARB. Oh man, everyone's trying along the ARB, huh? Hold on. See, this is like, look at this.
Yeah, I don't like how that looks.
Yeah, there's shorts. 119 million. That's a lot, but like, you need to fill this gap before you start hitting liquidity. 1.145 basically.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can continue to build shorts, and this can go down to 110. And I don't know. It did sweep these lows at 113. So
111. I'm actually bearish on ARB here. I'll show you why. So chart wise, this low didn't get taken at 111, just missed it. But all these equal lows to me are actually more attractive at 105. I don't see a good impetus for this to go up other than I want this to go up. Come below here, I would be interested in getting long. These lows are too juicy at 105 in my mind. If this is just a giant range. Yeah, I think you go lower on ARB. I don't think it's that attractive long wise.
Where's Ape now? 184.
184.3. Yeah.
It's still kind of like a walking on eggshells for me right now, especially going into the daily close and stuff. Maybe right after you get a squeeze, or maybe it starts at like 7. I don't know. 6 o'clock. We're about to come into the hourly close, so that puts the Ape. It'll print an 8, I think. The next candle, if it stays like that. Yeah. So maybe wait for that. Were there more requests?
Gala and OP.
Gala. Let's see. I don't. Oh, they have it. I mean,
everything liquidated so hard. That's all I'm seeing is everyone just got destroyed today. Sorry if you were long. That's all I'm seeing on these charts, just being Dream Destroyer candle.
I mean, this can go to 2 cents. It can go to, I don't know. This is, look, gap. You're guessing. 2 shorts, 1 long. I guess people are kind of like 46 million in shorts, 401 to 127.
See, I like that.
Numerically,
numerically, it's good. Chart wise, you're just buying basically a sweep of these lows, not the wick of these lows that just happened. But you know, how much edge do you have playing this type of chart right here? Are you playing it back up to 20 or 2.2 cents, like Trip said, or could it go back down even lower? Yeah. I think both the ways you're playing, it's like 1%, or I guess 3.5% both directions.
I can't enter when like the wick looks like that. It's like,
yeah, I can, but then my stop is below the wick, and it's like, unless I think I'm squeezing for like sweeping these highs, maybe. But then, like, I don't know. Let's just pretend. Let's say you were going to use this wick, okay, and you're going to play for here. Yeah, I guess a 2-to-1, but like, how much juice do you think Gala has to give you the squeeze? I don't know what funding looks like, but I'm going to assume it's not anything. Slightly negative right here, slightly negative. And what'd you say the licks look like on Gala?
401 to 127. There's like 50 million.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
But you're like prices like in between.
Yeah, the position here doesn't make sense. You either wait for a dip to get long or just don't participate in the squeeze, I guess, would be the thought process.
It's a gaming play, too. None of that stuff has been in
That's
favor.
true. Yeah.
All right, ARB, or no, OP. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
So I am still long our OP.
Okay, this is kind of interesting. 102 million in shorts, 209 to 50 ratio. You like this? I'd rather see like this type of structure, like not just a wick, like so a wick down here, came back here.
Because that's
So
like basically making your test of your support, not just where.
yeah, well, your risk is so much tighter than this stuff, right? So this is the potential higher low to take out this high, right? And where do you trade back to? I honestly, I don't know. So if the market reverses and like BTC and ETH start ripping really hard, you're going to get probably some cleanups on all these deltas, and they could flip green.
Yeah. So I think on OP
then
you get 161. You take out these highs.
yeah, like
You do the
you're
key in touch.
like you're going to get a nice move, right? So you could put your stop below, like maybe I would put it probably below this, because if you go below this, you're just going to run down into like 143, in my opinion, right? So you could potentially enter, I don't know, in this zone and put your stop below this kind of like mini double bottom type situation. And then you're starting to probably target this liquidity, but how much juice does it have to get like this is a breakdown. Like this is a big breakdown, right? Like this low, price tried to go up, didn't, came down, came back up and nuked. So like reclaiming this 153 area, right, is like you got to start trading back above here. So there is an argument to be had for like a long here. I don't know. What does that look like from a setup?
Yeah, so I'm long already from 4564, and the reason being is because like you shared, like this was an hourly candle down that basically preceded this entire move down from what was it 162 to here. So this to me is just like this entire move played out. So mean reversion, we saw that on the key June 162, 161. That to me makes sense just because when I see a high volume, I'm just going to assume it's high volume. I don't really need to throw the volume on, but just for your. This is a high volume candle. Long lower wick proceeded at the end of what seems like several days of downtrend, right? Since Tuesday, or I guess since this high, basically. Several hours of downtrend. That to me is as bottomed as any. If I throw on the daily cloud, it bounced off the daily key June 145. That was the reason to take the long. It swept these lows pretty much. So my stop goes belong here, and I'm actually targeting these 162 highs. So for me, the way that's set up, yes. So the way it looked was with a stop below the low, 4, 5, 6, stop below the low, and then I was playing to 162, like a 3.4, which to me made sense because it's basically bottom down here. You're playing back up for that mean reversion trade. That to me is a trade I don't mind taking because I think Bitcoin does bounce from these range lows that we swept, or these Monday low that we swept. We hold that Monday low, and as long as it makes a higher high, reclaims, I think we can see this move going towards the end of the week.
AVAX?
AVAX. Do AVAX and then do the last one. Conceptual question for MK. Do alt liquidity games typically benefit or suffer from increased TradFi volume if BTC holds up relatively, doesn't follow it down? Yeah, I don't think that it. Well, great question, right? So conceptually, I think the fact that so it's double-edged sword. Actually, I think it's negative, right? So to answer the question straightforward, I think it's a negative aspect, right? when liquidity is taken or volatility is taken away from the market, what we see is when market makers eject, like GSR, we saw Bitcoin have like a 1% move down on the day so far. Not even, and alt sneeze like 5 to 10% across the board. So yeah, the knee jerk and volatility, the fact that Bitcoin is becoming less. Just to answer your question, it conceptually hurts alt liquidity. I think that's my answer to your question, because liquidity leaving the system in any way, shape, or form leads to more volatility, and you see the pukes being ever so larger and more, I guess, abusive. So yeah, it hurts the liquidity games. But yeah, go finish up here, Trip, with AVAX.
So, I think we're seeing a pattern of like consolidation nuke, right? People chase shorts down. Typically, late shorts are going to get punished. Just a matter of how much it squeezes. But there's 87 million in shorts on AVAX with pretty favorable, like over 5-to-1 ratio of shorts to longs. I mean, a lot of longs right here. I would say price is closer to squeezing. So maybe it comes back to like 12. Or again, it's like, what do you think Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to do? But there is a pretty big gap down to like, the next round of licks here. But is the setup at 11.8 with a stop below? I can't tell where the wick went. Did it go to like 11.50?
11.30. 11.30.
11.30? Yeah, like it's not. What are you playing until like here? I don't know. It's not that like, yes, this looks attractive to me, like, because just the stats alone, but I don't understand like how you really get up in the setup. I guess like it doesn't look as good as OP, which gave you a bit more of a bottoming like hourly structure.
Yep, I agree with that. Yeah, just to echo that sentiment at the end, this did sweep a ton of lows, but the fact that we swept this low right here at like 12.10 and we're still trading below it, I think we'll close the day below it, is not a bullish sign. So like Trip said, can you get a squeeze back up to 12 something to take out those licks? Yeah, but it really is in nowhere's land, and it seems like liquidity lower seems attractive still, where it's not at this peak reversal point, right? Like we did come into this block, we bounced off this block, but I don't see this having as much juice as other opportunities we mentioned tonight. But yeah, I think that about wraps it up, guys. Talked about a bunch of different alts. I actually took that ape trade while we were streaming. But other than that, guys, I think status quo here is market seems due for a dead cat bounce. How high it goes remains to be seen. I think we're in this predatory environment still. Trip and I will agree. You're trading aggressively, you're taking your profits where you can, and you're basically making sure that you're greedy with everything, because round tripping here is highly likely, if not probable. So without rambling anymore, any last words here, Trip, before we send off?
No, I would say just if you don't see a really, really good setup that catches your eye, don't force yourself to trade. Or just as an exercise, like don't trade for a whole day. Just set levels, and like if your trading view alert goes off, then open up your computer. If it's not going off, don't do it.
Keep touching grass. Keep doing other things. I love it. All right, guys. With that said, we'll catch you all next week. Captain Cole signing out.
Everyone to the tools of the trade.